Control the tempo, control the game. How Vandy can pull off massive upset number 2.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen every single day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. So visit FanDuel.com to get started. Now, this atmosphere will be electric this weekend. Vandy's hosting some big-time recruits and has landed on some recruits' radars recently. But the motto for this team and the motto for this game is control the tempo, control the ball, control the game. That's the recipe for cooking the second massive upset of the season. So we talk about control. It's all about control. All right, that's Vandy's philosophy. That's been Vandy's philosophy all season long. This has been something where Vandy's lacked a team identity for quite some time. And, I think you have to have that team mindset, that team philosophy, and then apply it to your separate units from there. But, control the ball, control the clock, control the field, control everything, control the game, right? So how do they do that? Okay, that's the golden question. We're going to answer that offensively. We're going to answer that defensively. And also we're going to talk a little bit recruiting because we need a recruiting update because for the first time in a long time, there is one, right? And it's, never thought I'd say that Vandy recruiting is taking off because you don't normally say that. But here we are. So how do they do that? Okay. How do they do that offensively? All right, let's look at the recent games. Okay. Diego Pavia's got to be efficient and effective. Okay. That's number one. That's always the case. That'll never not be the case. Okay. So that's going to be like permanent step number one for this offense. If they want to control the ball, Pavia's got to be efficient, has got to be effective. Okay. He's got to make people miss, got to be effective on his reads. He's really got to be on point throwing the ball. He's got to be dead accurate. Receivers have got to make the plays, and they just got to be efficient and effective. What that means is try to limit first and long, second and long, third and long type situations. When I say first and long, I mean getting a stupid penalty on first down to back you up and put you immediately against the chains because Texas's defense really likes to feast. And when you're in a backed up situation like that, that's when they thrive because they have a lot of team speed and they can get after you. So being efficient and being effective means staying on schedule because I think you have a chance to get this Texas team on their heels a little bit, the same way you did with Bama's defense, because Bama's defense, again, has a lot of the same vulnerabilities, right? The DBs are really good, and the DBs are better in the passing game than they are. And then the front is against the run for Texas. For Alabama, it was kind of flipped. But you had a similar type of vulnerability where, like, this defense is good, should be dominant, but they're not. And they have some holes and they have some vulnerabilities. And we got to attack those vulnerabilities. For Vandy, they attacked those vulnerabilities. For Alabama, it was the edges and it was in the pass game against those corners. It was get the ball out to the edges as quickly as you can and make some yards that way, grind the ball down the field and score. And Vanderbilt did a phenomenal job of that. Against Kentucky, same way. They were able to neutralize the big guys in the middle, get the ball on the edge, throw the ball out to the perimeter, make those cornerbacks come up and tackle. What happened? They got a win. Wasn't pretty. Wasn't the prettiest win of all time. Probably not as many points as they wanted to put up, but they were effective. They controlled the ball. They controlled the clock. They controlled the game against Kentucky. Against Ball State, they did just enough to win. They did some really, really good things, and then they were just kind of lackadaisical in some other areas, but they were able to win, and they were able to kind of put that together. Against Missouri, offensively, they did a really good job of controlling the ball. I think sometimes they bogged down when they got penalties. They got behind the sticks, and they allowed Missouri's defense to kind of get them off the field quickly. and that allowed Missouri's offense to go to work. Now, Vandy's defense did, Clark Lee and his defense did a good job for the most part limiting explosive plays, but there were times in the second half that they didn't play complimentary football. Against Virginia Tech, great first half. Second half, they almost lost control. They almost lost the grip of it, but the offense kept it together and kept doing their part while the defense was kind of figuring it out. Because it was the first game of the season. They didn't have all the bullets in their gun there defensively and really even offensively. But the offense did their part while the defense was figured out, and then the defense finally refigured it out and won the game. So for this game, I say that to say this. Stay ahead of the chains on first down. You want to get 3-4 yards is a great play on first down against this defense. Okay. You want to get the ball to the perimeter, force those guys to come up and tackle, right? Force those perimeter guys to make plays in space, which they have speed, they have talent. They can certainly do so, but you never really know how disciplined they're going to play until they play against your offense, against your philosophy of offense. So you don't really know how they're going to react until they get in that situation. That's a beautiful thing about the scheme that Vanderbilt employs is you don't know how those guys are going to react in space. So Pavia has just got to be efficient and effective. That's what he's been all year long. He's been spectacular making guys miss. He's been spectacular in getting guys around him to elevate, but he's got to continue to be that. And part of that is just being extremely efficient in what he does, riding the mesh point as long as he can to get that first defender to commit. All right. Then when he pulls it, really forcing that guy to make a play, really forcing that guy to commit. And then when he commits, he's able to make off-platform throws. He's able to contort and get that ball out wide to the bubble on the perimeter and get those guys going. The receivers have done a great job of blocking. And this is an offense that really forces you to make plays on an island. And if they can do that, now Texas will start guessing. If they can get Texas to start guessing and start trying to anticipate, which they'll never be able to do, then that's when Vandy has you right where they want you. They have, Pavia is able to manipulate those guys into thinking they have the play, and then all of a sudden he pump fakes it out there, and the guy goes flying, and he's up the seam for 10 yards, first down. Right, clock's moving. Right, that defensive end slow plays it, and Diego Pavia slow plays it, and then gives it to Cedric Alexander. Next thing you know, they've got some guys walled off because the offensive line has done a tremendous job at creating double teams and really getting those guys sealed. Alexander's through there, Newberry's through there, right? And you get guys playing slow. You get linebackers coming over the top, and these backs have really good vision. They can kind of take some seams there. So it's going to be for Pavia to be efficient and effective in the pass game. He's got to create opportunities for himself, and he's got to deliver catchable passes. There was a pass early in the Ball State game. They're down in the red zone. He has a chance on a play where he broke the pocket, and he had a chance with Quincy Skinner on the front pylon. Yeah, I think Quincy should have caught it, could have and should have caught it, but also I think Diego could have delivered a better ball, a more catchable ball. He put it low and away, which is where you kind of should put it in that scenario. You got a defender on your back. If you put that thing high, he's going to poke through there, or he has a chance to jump it. So you got to put it low and away, put it right there on that pylon, but you got to deliver a ball that's catchable. You can't on those passes where the guys kind of slide, you can't if you throw a bullet in there sometimes, you got to kind of find that happy medium. But if you throw a bullet in there, he's not going to be able to catch it. And that's part of being effective. Like, you have to throw catchable passes and give your guys a chance. He doesn't always give his guys chances. And that's kind of where his vulnerabilities are. That's kind of where his weaknesses are as far as the passing game goes. But sometimes he's throwing dimes right there on the money. So he's just got to be a little bit more consistent with those things. And sometimes that's focus, and sometimes that's just he gets juiced up, he gets amped up, and sometimes that ball just rockets out of his hand. And and so the guy should be used to it, but he can do his part and throw a catchable ball. Get Eli Stowers involved early. I think getting him involved in the pass game, in the RPO game, in the option game, is going to be effective. Having some split zone stuff where he pops out in the flat. You get those guys, he kicks out a couple times, and you get those guys coming down to take on the kick, and he slips out beside him into the flat, and he's got space. He can create with that space. There's different concepts that I like in the passing game that gets him isolated on a linebacker, and the linebacker has to run through traffic to get to him, and Stowers is usually the better athlete in that scenario. So getting things like that going as well, effective and efficient. Just get the ball where it needs to go. Focus on getting 4 yards on first down, 4 yards on second down, 4 yards on third down. Move the chains, control the clock. Focus on getting 4 yards first before you get 20. Then take your shots. Then give your guys a chance. Build that confidence. Easy throws early. Just do your thing early. Get in a groove, and then you can start getting kind of funky. So that's efficient and effective. That's the definition of that. Control the ball, control the clock, control the game. Offensively, Pavia needs to be efficient and effective. So defensively, how does defense fit into that philosophy? Anybody know the answer? Raise your hand. I'll call on you just in a second. Stay tuned. All right. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find a quality professionals that's right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but might be open for the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire. So they are finding constant ways, that's LinkedIn that is, finding constant ways to make this process even easier. They even just launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even easier and quicker. Can't beat that. 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right. Welcome back. Segment number 2 here, Locked On Vandy on the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks you for making us your first listen each and every day. This is where it's at. It's a ranked matchup. Texas coming in to take on the 25th ranked Vanderbilt Commodores. This is exciting times at Nashville. First time in a decade. Even if it might only last 7 days, hell, it's worth it, man. This is going to be an electric game, electric atmosphere. This is going to be one of the sneaky games of the weekend. It's on SEC Network, 3:15 local time, so that's going to be fun. Texas is double-digit favorites, but Vandy has a chance, guys. People think that it's Vandy. People still in the mindset it's Vandy, it's Texas. There's no shot, right? But Vandy has a shot. Remember, control the ball, control the clock, control the game. That's the motto. All right. Here's what Clark Lee had to say. All right. He said this about the offense, but I really like this quote a lot better when he was talking defensively, because we don't really talk about it from a defensive perspective enough about how Vandy can control things from a defensive standpoint. But this was an underrated philosophy in the Alabama game and even in the Kentucky game too. So he said, quote, and this was part of a quote. This was not the whole quote, but this was part of a quote. He said, I'll pick it up from this point. We have to be super patient defensively. We've talked about every time they snap it, they're not in the end zone. That actually is playing into our strategy. So we're going to try to force them to snap it over and over again. And this is the way we play. That's part of limiting the total number of points they can score. So guess what? If they don't score, they don't win. Very easy philosophy. Team that scores the most points usually wins the game, right? That's your dynamite analysis. You can turn the show off now. That's the end of it. Like and subscribe. The team that scores the most points is going to win, right? No. So what he means by that, let's break down this quote. Okay, we have to be super patient defensively, all right? Texas is an explosive team, okay? And they're going to get some plays. They're going to get their plays. It's going to happen. Quinn Ewers is considered to be a top NFL prospect at the quarterback position, even though he was benched for a couple series, and even though Sark desperately wants Arch Manning in the game. Not sure why, because Quinn Ewers is a pretty damn good quarterback, but they're not sure what they want at quarterback. So they got to be super patient defensively because of that. It's the bend but don't break, right? Make your plays as they come. Don't try to be a hero, and don't try to win the game on every snap. Be patient defensively. Make the plays, make the routine plays, keep them in second and third and long. Do not let them win on first down. All right. Make them work. Okay. And he talks about that. He said, every time they snap it and they're not in the end zone, it's actually playing into our strategy. Make them work. Teams like Texas, teams like Alabama, teams like Tennessee, and even teams like LSU are explosive based offenses. They don't like to work. They don't like to grind. They don't like to drive the ball 10 plus plays. Make them work. That's the key. That's the key to this whole thing. Make them work. Make them snap it and snap it again and snap it again. Make them snap it 3 times to get a first down if they're going to get a first down. All right. Make them snap it 6 if they're going to get 2 first downs. Make them snap it 7 more times if they're going to get another first down because of some penalties and some losses. Make them snap the ball 10 to 12 times if they're going to put it across the end zone at least, right? You really want a 14, 15 play drive if they're going to score, because then that limits their possessions, that limits their points, that gives you a chance if you can hold the ball. If Vanderbilt and Diego Pavia can be effective and efficient, that helps the defense play to their strategy. And if Pavia can't be efficient and effective, well, then the defense has to press a little bit to get the ball back. But for the defense, they have to swarm the run game. Texas, they could run. I don't know that they really want to. You know, watching them against Georgia, they try to throw their way out of their problems. I don't think they really want to grind and run the game. I think they want to play a Big 12 game here. And they can't do that in this league. They have to establish a run. Like, I'm not saying you can't throw the ball 40 times, but like you have to like throw the ball some, but you have to run the ball effectively too. I mean, it's one of those things where you have to own that. And so for Vandy, make them one-dimensional. Make them feel like they have to sling the ball around the yard. Then, as you saw what Georgia could do, get pressure on Ewers. You can rattle Ewers. You can hit him. You can knock him down. You can get him to throw. You can get him to throw at awkward arm slots. You can get him to throw off platform. You can get him on the run. Fluster him a little bit. I mean, you can do all of that stuff in the passing game. That'll get them out of their rhythm. That'll force them throwing incomplete on first down, throwing incomplete on second down. Next thing you know, you're in 3rd and 10. That's where you want to be. Make them have to work to get a first down. If they're going to get a first down, they're going to earn it. All right. Ewers is going to throw a ball under duress. He's going to get hit. He's going to get clocked a couple of times when he lets go of the ball. And he's going to be thinking about it the next time, right? Those are the things you have to do, right? As Vandy's defense, they've been playing aggressively all year long. They've been okay with giving up some chunks here and there, but they're going to get after you too. They're going to make big plays. They're going to force you behind the sticks. They're going to force you to execute. They're going to force you to work. They're going to force you to block on the perimeter. They're going to force you to get the ball out quick. And if you can do those things, you'll be successful. But if you can't, if you struggle with any of that stuff, if Vanderbilt can get through, get a hand up and deflect the ball. Defensively, out on the perimeter, slip a block and hit one of their bubble screens. They got some fast dudes. Do not let them take off, right? Don't let them reach top speed. Knock them around in the passing game. Don't let those receivers off the ball. Do what you did to Ryan Williams, except for that one play, that 150-yard play. Do what you did against Ryan Williams. Do what you did against Luther Burden. You made Luther Burden work. He earned it. I'll give him credit. He earned it, but you made him work. You made him earn it. He didn't just go out there and take it like he normally does, right? So you got to make Texas earn it. They're an explosive offense. They're a really good offense. You got to make them earn it. If you don't make them earn it, it's not, I could talk about players, I could talk about matchups, but none of that matters, right? None of that matters. Miles Capers is back. That's amazing. Langston Patterson is back. That's amazing. You get some really good leadership, really good playmaking ability, right? Corday Sidnor, he's going to be the Michael Williams of this defense. He's going to be kind of that bigger edge guy that can make some things happen. Miles Capers can come in for a big play. He had a massive sack on Jalen Milroe to ice that game against Bama. It's those type scenarios to where you could really kind of make this thing, you could really turn this game upside down if you can make a few plays like that. You come off the edge on second and long and you get a big sack, you can get the ball out. You can, if you get them off rhythm, you can get some incompletions. You can really get Sark thinking about, okay, I see 16 over there. I see that Manning guy. I want to put him in and just really kind of make a panic move. Now, you could completely harass viewers, have Sark make the switch, and then Manning could come in and just freaking march right down the field and dominate you, right? That is completely possible. And that could very well happen. But you want to put Texas in that situation to where they have to rely on that, because that's going to affect them down the stretch. That's going to create a controversy. That shows that they just don't really have any confidence. And then you can kind of play into that. And Pavia will make you pay. He will make you pay. So, but it's going to be a fun, electric atmosphere. But make Texas's offense work. Make them grind. Make them earn it. Pavia, be effective and efficient. But this is a big recruiting weekend. It's going to be it's going to be a really, really awesome atmosphere. I think the Vandy fans are starting to get it that, hey, if we fill the stadium, we can actually make this a pretty cool place to play. And with the new renovations expected to be done completely by next season, you can really make this place difficult on opposing teams. You really can. They're showing that. Vandy fans are starting to realize that now, right? Vandy fans are starting to get onto other Vandy fans for selling their tickets. That's amazing to see. That is absolutely amazing to see. I'll tell you more next. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the place where you place your bets. I love doing the anytime touchdowns I love doing the receptions like I had. One of the bets that I hit recently, earlier in the season, obviously not last night, but Zay Flowers, he had a game where he was 4.5 over under 4.5 receptions, and he hit. I like hitting those. I like hitting those type of bets, and then I like doing the live odds as they change. I made some big money on a couple of games like that. Couple college games like that where I bet it live in the third quarter and it ended up holding up. So you can do a lot of those things as you are in the app. You can play it live. That's probably the best way to play it on FanDuel. So you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com, America's #1 sports book. All right, here we are wrapping up the show. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. If you need a second listen, Locked On SEC, Chris Gordy. If you're listening, I am shouting you out. And those of you that don't understand that, if you watch SEC Squad, you'll understand that. Locked On Ole Miss is another great show. If you're in the Memphis area, especially ABC 24, Stephen Willis on Locked On Ole Miss. If you need another show, if you're in the Memphis area, if Ole Miss is a team that you like outside of Vandy, then certainly check that out. He does a phenomenal job. Or if you just want to see a really good sports podcast and don't really care about the content, he does a really good job there. So make sure you take a listen at that. And it's a big recruiting weekend for Vandy. Got a lot of visitors and some recent decommitments that we're keeping an eye on a little bit here. One of the visits I want to talk about was from last weekend, actually. LeBron Hill, 3-star wide receiver from Northwest Indiana. He came in and he was here at the Ball State game. So this is a little recruiting update. We'll start with some guys that have already been on campus, and I'll tell you who's visiting. But he's a 6'4" wide receiver from Morton High School in Hammond, Indiana. If you know where Hammond, Indiana is, congratulations, because I don't. All right. But he said, quote, "I had a great time, especially hearing those words from Coach Lee. Coach Lee's a great coach. His passion for the game was very inspiring to me. And that was a big thing that made the visit 10 times better. You don't get too much of a coach like that. That's the first time I've been around a coach who almost cried, showing his passion for the game. That was a big thing for me." So that quote stands out because I don't think anybody's saying that about Clark Lee last year. I think people are like wondering if Clark Lee's even going to be back. It's not the case now. But he's got a lot of passion. He's finally showing it, which is great. Yeah, or at least he's showing it more outwardly. I don't know, like behind closed doors for the last 4 years, he could have been showing it, but no one would have ever known. But now we know, right? And this would be a huge get if you can get a big 6'4" target. Vandy needs receivers and needs them badly. They've got a couple of freshmen that for some reason aren't seeing the lineup, which I think that's kind of a mistake. You got to get those guys in, let those guys contribute. I mean, I love Quincy, I love Junior. You just need to get some consistent production. And if you're not getting that, give some guys a chance. I would love for those two guys to be the guys. They're just not right now. It's just not consistent. Austin Howard just recently decommitted from Mississippi State. Nobody saw that coming, right? His friend committed. I think he was just committed because his friend was committed and he thought it was cool. And Jeff Levy's a good coach, and Jeff Levy's got some good things going on. But, like, I don't think he was really into it. I think he was just doing that because his friend was doing it. So now he's back open. It's now between Tennessee and Vanderbilt. He was originally committed to Vanderbilt before, and I think Vanderbilt's done nothing but show him why he should recommit to Vanderbilt. And so he'll be around as well. He'll be a factor in recruiting up until early signing period. So that'll be a fun one to follow. So here's who's coming to the game. And these are some pretty good visitors. And I'm excited for that. Maybe this atmosphere can turn a couple of these. But Kevin P. from Lancaster, South Carolina, he's an interior offensive lineman. He's actually a Georgia Tech commit. But somebody that he's going to visit, and we're going to see what happens. Vanderbilt beats Texas. You never know. But he would be a great get on the interior. Need big dudes. He's an athletic guy, could play the quick guard side in the future. 3-star edge, Toby Hastrup from Houston, Texas kid, 6'4", 230. The edge position starting to become that tall, lanky, long arm, just dude like Jalen Walker, like Miles Capers, those guys. That position, he's a 4-star composite. He has risen up in the rankings. He's only going to get better as the year goes on. Texas, I trust the coaching in Texas. He's going to be really, really good. 3-star safety, Davin Chandler. He was Bryson Coleman's teammate. He's committed to Virginia right now, but you never know. He could be a flipper. Bryson Coleman can be pretty persuasive. He's from Berlin. He's from Berlin, Maryland. He went to Decatur High School in Berlin, Maryland. So does he want to play? Does he want to reunite with Coleman? We'll see. He'll get a chance to see what Vanderbilt looks like. Austin Howard's going to come and visit. Thinking Vanderbilt all the way here now. Going to stick with his original commitment. Broke him down earlier in the I guess the winter spring range. So if you want to see kind of go back to that episode, if you want to kind of see a breakdown, and I'll do if he signs, I'll do a breakdown, of course. Josiah Broxton. He's coming. He's a Vanderbilt commit. He's going to be playing a recruiter on the sidelines for a lot of these guys that are on the fence. You got a 3-star edge in Jake Stanish. He's a Buffalo commit. Again, another big, tall, long guy from Naperville, Illinois. It sounds kind of weird that we're competing with Buffalo for a commit, but stranger things have happened. I trust that we'll be able to develop him if he comes. Running back Tawan Payton, he's committed to Memphis right now. He's from Buford, Lanier High School to be exact, because there's a lot of high schools in Buford, Georgia, that is. He's a short, stocky guy, but somebody that could fit in. And then Jared Curtis. He is officially decommitted from Georgia. That doesn't mean he's not going to end up there, but he's right down the road. He's in Bellevue, right down the street from me. Jared Curtis. He's somebody that can he can sling it, man. He's big quarterback that can run, that can sling it. Class of 26, so he's still got some time left, but he's definitely Vandy's definitely on his radar. Things are looking interesting. Be interesting to see the fit with what Vandy does, but 5 stars is 5-star. So Carson Lawrence, Vanzel Hinton could also show up as well to this game. So it's going to be a star-studded. It's going to be a star-studded attendance here. I think there's going to be some guys that are recruiting heavy for Vanderbilt, but it's going to be interesting. Like, this is the first time in a long time that you're seeing like games like this where you're excited about the recruits that are on the sidelines. Like, you don't normally get that with Vanderbilt. That's not normally a thing. It's normally just like, okay, who's the leftovers we can pluck from? You know, who from Miami of Ohio's recruiting class can we pluck from, right? It's usually that scenario, but that's not the case anymore. You're fighting for some legit dudes here. You're starting to become a player, and NIL is starting to become a piece of that. So it's going to be fun. But coming up on the show this week, we've got a crossover with Jonathan Davis of Locked On Longhorns. So that's going to be fun. Him and I chop it up about the upcoming game. And Joey Dwyer from VandySports.com finally got him on the hook to come. So hopefully Friday's episode will feature him. If not, it'll just be your standard keys to the game, picks, all that stuff with hopefully with Joey. But if not, won't be the end of the world. But I'm looking forward to having him. And that's going to be a lot of fun. So with that, I bid you adieu, and we'll see you back here tomorrow, better than ever. And that will be it. Good night, good day, good night. Anchor down, behave yourselves, all the above. Peace.